When you hear about Jamaican, Choppa, culture, a few things immediately come to mind: fast money, flashy lifestyles, and a very specific type of vehicle. Not just any car, but two in particular, the Toyota Mark X and the Toyota Crown. But how did these two cars become so dominant in that space? To understand that, you have to look beyond the surface, and into the mindset, the environment, and the culture that shaped the choice. First, let's talk about timing. The rise of scamming in Jamaica, especially in areas like Montego Bay, really took off in the early 2010s. A new generation of young men suddenly had access to money, fast money. But unlike traditional wealth, this kind of success came with risk. High visibility could attract police attention, community scrutiny, and even rival threats. So the question became, how do you look rich without looking too rich? That's where the Mark X and Crown stepped in perfectly. Both cars are luxury sedans produced by Toyota. But unlike European luxury brands, they don't scream for attention. To the average person, they look like clean, well-kept, respectable cars. But to those who know, they signal money. That balance is everything. Driving a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz in certain communities can immediately raise eyebrows. It's flashy, it's obvious, and it can make you a target. But the Mark X and Crown move differently. They are subtle, understated, almost quiet in their presence. And that's exactly the point. These cars allow someone to enjoy luxury, smooth ride, strong engine performance, comfortable interiors, without putting a spotlight on themselves. It's what you would call low-key wealth. Now let's get into another major factor: accessibility. Jamaica relies heavily on imported vehicles, especially from Japan. And both the Mark X and Crown are built for the Japanese domestic market. That means they are right-hand drive, which fits perfectly with Jamaica's road system. Widely available in the used car market, more affordable compared to European luxury vehicles, and generally more reliable and easier to maintain. That last point is important. Owning a BMW or Benz in Jamaica isn't just about buying the car, it's about maintaining it. Parts can be expensive, mechanics can be limited, and repairs can quickly become a headache. Toyota, on the other hand, has built a global reputation for reliability. So with a Mark X or Crown, you're getting luxury, but with less stress. Now combine that with image and culture. In Jamaican street culture, especially within Choppa circles, image is everything. But it's not just about being flashy, it's about being strategic. The Mark X and Crown started to represent a certain type of success. Not loud, but powerful. Not desperate, but confident. Not reckless, but calculated. And once that image caught on, it spread fast. One man gets a Mark X, then his friend gets one. Another upgrades to a Crown. Before you know it, it becomes the standard. A symbol. And in environments where status matters, symbols carry weight. Over time, these cars became more than just transportation. They became part of the identity. You'll see it in music, especially dancehall. Artists reference these vehicles not just as cars, but as proof of success. It's part of the lifestyle being portrayed: the clean clothes, the money, the discipline, the control. Even the way these cars are driven plays into the image. Smooth, steady, composed. Not overly aggressive. It sends a message: I don't need to try hard. There's also a psychological layer to all of this. In a space where many individuals are trying to elevate themselves quickly, the Mark X and Crown offer a way to feel established. These are not starter cars, they give off executive energy. Like something a boss would drive. So even if someone is young, the car helps project maturity and status. And that perception matters. Because in many cases, success isn't just about what you have, it's about how people see you. Now here's something else to consider: evolution. At one point, the Mark X was the go-to. It was sporty, stylish, and had just enough aggression in its design. But as time went on, many started transitioning to the Crown. Why? Because the Crown sits at a higher level. It's more refined, more executive, more boss-like. If the Mark X says, I'm getting money, the Crown says, I already made it. So naturally, as individuals progressed financially, their choice of car evolved too. And that progression became part of the culture itself. But it's also important to understand that this trend isn't just about Choppas. Over time, the popularity of these cars spread into the wider Jamaican population. Now, you'll see professionals, business owners, and everyday drivers choosing Mark X and Crown vehicles, not because of any connection to scamming, but because of their value, comfort, and reliability. The cars outgrew the label. Still, their association with Choppa culture remains strong, because that's where the trend was amplified the most. So when you see a Mark X or Crown on Jamaican roads today, you're not just looking at a car. You're looking at a symbol shaped by economic shifts, street culture, image and perception, and smart, calculated choices. It represents a very specific mindset, one that values luxury, but understands the power of moving quietly. And in many ways, that's the real reason these cars became favorites. Not just because of what they are, but because of what they say, without saying anything at all.